Good. How are you? How's everybody?
Doing good. Doing good. Welcome to Saturday Shut Up Money Show. Is everybody hearing me okay?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Cool. Just making sure because I'm hearing myself differently today. Of course, I have a different headset on. I have my other headset packed because I'm going on vacation this week and I'm leaving after this. So my other headset's packed up because I might want to use it while I'm out. But glad you could hear me. Anyway, good to see you. Good to see
You
everyone.
too. Good to see everybody.
Yeah, good to see you. So, I want to take time today and just really focus on you guys. I really want to help anyone that's here with any questions they have, but also want to help with maybe more than questions. Maybe getting into something in particular, maybe diving a little deeper into something. Any of those things are okay. So, this is members only. So the only folks that are allowed here in the Zoom room are you guys. And so if you're out there in the club and you want to come on in, now's a good time to do it. If you're out there and you're not in the club and you want to be, then just get on my calendar and let's talk. That's all it takes. So happy to work with anybody really, even if you're a brand new beginner. It's like I really like that. I really like that. I'm the beginners guy. I love beginners. Why is that? I don't know. I think it's just because I'm a beginner too. I think we all probably can relate to that in some respect. And I've been doing this a long, long time. In a lot of ways, I still feel like I don't know anything. And I know a lot, but I don't know nothing yet. It's like, it's really a journey. Your real estate business is a journey. Um, on the website, shutupmoney.com, and in the course, actually, also, there's a kind of a map of things that you might want to accomplish in your real estate journey. It's a checklist, and you can edit it, modify it, make it yours. And I would really like everybody to, in the whole world, really, that's interested in doing real estate. I wish they would print that out and well modify it, edit it, put their stuff on it. What's unique? What are the unique ideas you have about real estate? Your career. What do you want to accomplish? There'll be some similarities with other people, but there'll be a lot of uniqueness too, right? So definitely want to write some things down, maybe we want to kind of totally plan out our career. I know that sounds hard, especially if you don't plan, if you're not a big planner, but you probably ought to start planning out your career. So um, that little tool that I have is helpful for that. So you guys ought to check into that. But um, nevertheless, let's make this about you. So I like to talk for the first few minutes and give people a chance to pop in. This is the holidays. Man, are you guys ready for Christmas? No. How about you, Jocelyn? You ready for Christmas? You gotta hit that unmute button for me. On the screen, yeah. It's should be on the bottom left hand corner, a little mic button on the Zoom window. On the Zoom.
I see it.
There you go. You got it.
Can you guys hear me okay? Great.
Okay, great.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I said hi before, but I see now you guys couldn't hear me. And I hope everybody's having a great holiday. And yes, I'm ready. We have simplified it to the point where we basically get gift cards for everybody. We don't have any little kids anymore.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Gift cards, you say?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
No adults now. We don't have any little put together the train sets anymore type of, so, yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. That's a good idea. It's a good idea. What about you, Christina? Do you still have shopping left to do? Oh, we can't hear you either. I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on. Hey, it's good to see Val here too.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
It's
Yes.
good to see you. Christina, yeah, we can't hear you for some reason. I don't know what's going on there, but it's like it looks like your mic is on, but it's not. It's like we're not hearing you.
That's what happened to me last week. I had to sign in and sign back. I sign off and sign back in.
Yeah, one time that happened to me too, and I had to do that, and that fixed it. And then another time it happened, and it was my little. I had the little mute button thing on my
Okay.
wire. Like I saw some of them have like this little.
Hmm.
I had that on mute for some reason, but I didn't even know there was a mute there. But yeah, there is. So anyway, hopefully you can get that worked out, Christina, because we'd love to hear from you. But it's good to hear from Val too. It's good to see Mag popping in here. It's good to see Carl in here. What's going on, everybody?
What's up?
Hey, I'm waking up now too. It's Saturday. Why do we do it on Saturday? I don't know. It's kind of used to always do it on Saturday. Now we're doing it on Saturday again. And you guys got out of bed and showed up, and I love you. That's great. What do you got going on there, Mag? What's that? Who you got
Oh,
there?
this is the little one.
Is that a little is that a little mini me there?
Look, that's mini me, right? Look at that.
Hey, let me pin your
Adorable.
Hey,
uh,
buddy.
Mhm.
Hey, buddy. There we go.
we'll spotlight you.
Ah, thank you. Look, spotlight him.
Hey,
Hey, what's up,
hey.
future guy?
Yes, it's
That's
awesome.
great.
He still he still wakes me up at night.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
that's a future millionaire.
exactly. That's right here.
Future multi-millionaire.
Yes.
And then he'll probably inherit the millions that dad has too.
Yes.
So it'll be double.
We
Great.
gotta teach him how to do it first. So he doesn't spend everything.
I totally agree. Got to teach them how to do it. Is
Yeah.
anybody in here teaching kids right now in their lives how to do it? Anybody? No, nobody in the room. I saw a post recently where somebody was talking about teaching their sons to do this, and I was like, "Wow, that's smart." And I remember Jocelyn talking about it once.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. My son and I still do it together.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Certainly do.
Are there any family teams in the room here like that? No. Okay.
I mean, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay,
That's
cool.
great.
I mean, me and Victor,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like family. Yeah.
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 Well, so that's a couple. You guys are in a relationship, right?
Mhm.
And so that's kind of cool. That's cool too. Like a spousal or like a intimate relationship. Attacking this as a partnership. That's really cool. That's cool too. I like that. So parents and children, spouses, partners. Anybody else got anything else that anybody maybe I know somebody that's got a really, really, really close friend, like a lifelong friend they do business with. So
That's cool.
it's cool too. Me, I don't have anybody like that. I walk alone.
No, you didn't teach your sons anything like that?
What's odd is none of them want to learn.
Okay.
None of them wanted to. Isn't that weird? I find it weird, but everybody's got their. How kids are their own person.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they want what they want, and they do what they do, and they think what they think, and they are who they are. And so, yeah, turned out well. One of them's a salesman,
Mm-hmm.
but he's looking for a vision. He's looking for a dream, and it's like not dear old dad's. but it's something else, you know. So, but he's a salesman, so at least I got that. That was nice. So, but the other guys are, I'm just as proud of them too. But one works in manufacturing and distribution, and the other one is he's just freshly out of high school. So actually, all of them kind of are. So, yeah, but that's partly why I started the club, you know, because I wasn't passing anything on to these kids about this stuff, and I kind of wanted to share. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I had a few reasons for starting the clubs. You guys have heard me talk about that, but that's kind of one of them, honestly.
That's pretty cool. I love that.
Well, yeah, I love it too. You guys really fill a hole in my heart. You know, a special need that I have. And that's nice because this could be a very lonely business, couldn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, just imagine if we didn't have each other.
Mhm.
Who would we talk to ever about anything, really? It would
Mhm.
be tough. So,
Mhm.
and you know, there's a lot of people out there doing this. And I feel like a lot of people are failing at wholesaling because they're too alone. They just
Mhm.
they don't have any support structure or any rhythm to feed off of or momentum of any
Mhm.
kind.
Mhm.
Well, it's good to see everyone here. We've had even more people pop in here. God, I love you. Thank you for being here. It is the holiday season, and you could be doing a million other things, but you've chosen to spend a little time with me on Saturday morning. Thank you. God bless you for that. Jocelyn, thank you for being here. Carl, Mag,
My
Christina,
pleasure.
Sue popped in here. Thank you. Ty and Val is in here. And anybody, let's just start out. Anybody got questions? Anybody got questions? Q&A. I might not have answers, but I'll try. Nobody has any questions?
I have a deal that I'm a transaction I'm working on.
Great.
Trying to make sure I dot all the i's, cross all the t's.
Okay.
It's a home that I've been doing a lease option with the last 12 months. The tenant has left, so I need to get a new tenant ASAP because the tenant is gone. This is threatening to suck up everything, the cash flow I've made in the past 10 months. And then I was advised to ask the seller, would they sell for what they owe? And he said he would. And he only owes like 45,000 and some change. And the house is worth at least 60, maybe more by the time, it's sold. It'd probably be more if we put a little bit of work into it. So I'm just trying to make sure I structure everything correctly, and because I'll go ahead and, I want to go ahead and write up an agreement and take over the house, and then I may wholesale it or I might hold it and continue to cash flow. So I'm trying to figure all that out.
Right. Okay, let's take it from the top. Everybody, you want to just kind of dive into this deal and analyze it a little bit? Because how many of
Yes.
you are making calls and like running into things and being like, could be a deal, but I'm just not sure how or what or any of that. So let's take some time and just go through a deal and just see what we can find out about this, and we'll all pitch in. Okay, everybody can help out here, and that's what I like. That's how I like to do things. Is I like everybody to pitch in your thoughts and ideas, and we'll come to some really cool conclusions here. Hopefully,
That'll be most helpful to me.
great. Well, good. It'll be helpful to all of us, frankly. So, let's talk about the deal. Is this take it from the top? Where'd the lead come from?
The lead came from PropStream about a year ago.
Okay, so this is in what state?
Cambridge, Maryland.
Okay, it's in Maryland. And what is the ARV or the property's value after it receives all of the necessary repairs and updates? Do you know? Ballpark?
Currently it's like at 55 or 60. I have not assessed it for after repair yet,
Okay.
after upgrades, because I never thought of buying it. I mean, I did.
Okay.
I wasn't planning on buying it.
Okay, so we have our first hiccup here. And that is okay. Okay, I don't mean to point anything out in a weird way here, but what I mean is that all in real estate investing and wholesaling, all calculations and all analysis always begins with either one of two numbers or both. And that is the after repair value. Or you could say a full market value, fair market value, okay, if it's a pretty house. So, but nevertheless, what we're talking about is value here, right?
Right.
Okay, so you got to find out really what is this thing worth. You have some kind of an idea. Okay, so not in its current state, but in its repaired state.
And upgraded. Okay.
Yep. ARV, got to start there.
Okay.
So that's like comps, right?
Yes, that's like get an idea of other houses that have sold in the area recently, and what they are they comparable in size and whatnot, and what was the price that they sold for? You know, kind of get some idea. We did a little bit of this last week, I believe, when we jumped into PropStream and we're looking at something, and we were talking about, hey, how do you find some values? Well, PropStream's a great place to do it. So we would want to do that first. And why is it that we have to start with that number, everybody? Let's think of it logically here. If we're going to start analyzing any property deal anywhere, why is it that we have to start with the after repair value?
To see if it's a deal or not.
Yeah. See, if you don't have, yeah, correct. Go ahead, Carl.
No, I was just saying, just see if it's a deal or not.
That's correct. It's the beginning of all mathematical equations on the deal.
What you got to work with?
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Has
So,
impact.
if you don't have the after repair value, you're not an investor. What are you?
Just a buyer.
A speculator.
Mm.
Okay.
A hacker.
Or a good-
Zillow type.
Or a guesser. Yeah. So you got to start out there. So will you work on that while we talk here just a little bit, Valerie? Will you work
Yes.
on coming up with just a ballpark? Doesn't have to be dead on accurate. Okay.
Okay.
Just get us in the neighborhood, or like, hey, there was a house that sold in June that's just a couple blocks away in the same neighborhood with looks like the same size house, everything. It sold in June for 110. Okay.
Mhm.
All right, give us something to shoot off of here.
Okay.
But yeah, what other number, if it's not just the value, which we're always going to want to know, what other thing as an investor will we really want to know? This is great education, I think, guys. So I'm glad we're diving into this, Val. Thanks for bringing this. We have to start with the after repair value or fair market value. We have to start with that. That's the beginning of all calculations. But there's also another number that's super important.
The cost of repair.
Well, that's important too. It's important too.
If it has a mortgage or not.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's important too.
What they
When-
ask them.
The
what they
as
ask
is
them for.
value, no?
As is value. Yeah, that's important.
Recent sold houses in the area.
Yes. That's important. Okay, guys. Expand your horizons here. Woo, think a little bigger. What about monthly cash flow?
Mhm.
What would this property make every single month?
Mhm.
All right, we're investors, okay? We think in terms of monthly cash flow on property deals. Okay, so you gotta start with the after repair value and like, hey, what would this thing cash flow?
Mhm. So what's the rentals? What are they doing over there in the area?
So yeah, exactly. What's the rentals like in the area? What would it rent for? If I owned this property, free and clear, what could I get some knucklehead to move in and pay me every month? Okay, right?
Right.
Why is that important to know?
Cash flow. What are you gonna make every month?
Right, because we're investors.
Mhm.
And we might be getting into the deal for what? Either equity.
Mhm.
Equity is when we get money based on the property's value versus what we contracted it for. That's equity. Does everybody understand where I'm coming from? Am I just diving into too deep of waters for Saturday at 10:30 a.m.? Okay. Or I'm just boring you maybe. Equity. Does everybody understand what equity is? Okay. That's why you want to have the properties after repair value so you can start to determine where equity is. Why is equity important as an investor?
You can borrow against it and buy more properties.
Leverage,
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah. Val was right on. What'd you say, Ty?
Leverage.
Yeah, you could use it as leverage and to buy other deals. Yeah, just like Val was saying. But equity is where your profit spreads are,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So you can't figure out what equity is until you know what the after repair value is. Okay. Or potential equity. All right. You can't figure out what a property will cash flow until you know what it will rent for. See how easy this is once you figure out what those two numbers are? Now you can really start to understand what the deal is. Well, there's this much equity or potential equity in the deal because the house is really worth 110 if it were in good shape. He only owes 45. He'll take what he owes. Okay. So there's a lot of potential equity here. Cash profits. Right?
So the investor's equity would be 55 if he sold it at 100?
Well, yeah, I mean, the equity is the difference between what's owed and the value.
Yeah,
Okay. So whatever that number is.
okay.
And in Justin's example, that's what it would be. It would be 55. If it was worth 110, but he owed 45, then it's just the spread, what's in between, guys, of what's owed and what's it worth. That's all the equity is. It's just the spread.
Yeah.
And it's all theory until it's sold, right?
It's all paper
All paper.
until
Yeah.
it's sold. Right.
Yeah.
It's paper money or theoretical. Yeah, I like your theoretical. Yeah. Because it's not realized cash profits, it's equity, right? In other words, I have profits tied up in a piece of real estate. Okay. So when you have a contract on a property for 100 that's worth 110 in good shape, and let's say you've got it, let's say it's a pretty house this time. It's worth 110. And it's pretty. But you're able to contract that home with the seller for 89. The difference between 89 and 110 is 21,000. You got instantaneous $21,000 in equity potential here. You see that? Instant profits. So real estate investors are always interested in what kind of equity can I grab right away. All right. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yep.
Now, they're also concerned about cash flow every month because we like to eat. Okay. So here's how you look at this. There are big shots in the arm. That's what I call a big shots in the arm, like the vaccine. It's a big shot in the arm. Okay. Well, in this particular case, you're living your life. Here's a deal. You snag instant equity. If you're able to cash that out, either by selling the deal or refinancing the deal, that's a big cash infusion. Okay. When you do a lease option wholesale, are you getting profits? Your profits, are they coming from equity
No,
No,
or are they coming from cash flow?
they're coming from the spread of prices for the home. The
I
first
feel-
contract, yeah, what?
Yeah. You're creating equity in the deal and then taking the profits immediately.
Oh, you still call it equity when you're,
It's equity because I have it under contract for 100,000 with a 36-month lease and then an option to buy at 100,000. I'm selling it to my tenant buyer for 120,000.
Mhm.
I just created 20,000 in equity.
Oh, I just thought it was this, you would call it a spread, but that's equity too.
It is a spread, yeah. So when I charge my tenant buyer $20,000 cash to move in, I'm realizing I'm profiting from that equity. I'm taking that equity out of the house deal, putting it as cash in my bank, HIP National Bank. Now I cashed out my equity. Okay. Does that make sense, everybody? Now, let's talk about the other. So cash money deals, that's equities there just as the same. Pretty house deals the same. Now let's talk about cash flow. Why do we need to know cash flow?
so you can see what your return is.
Yes, we like to eat. That's what I was saying earlier. You get a big shot in the arm. That's nice. I just cashed out my equity. I got 20 grand. Woo! I'm a hero. You are a hero. Yeah. Your wife and everybody's celebrating you. They're like, yeah. You know what? We've never known anybody that does what you do. You're amazing. Yeah, you just got a big shot in the arm, 20 grand. Pow! Okay. Well, let's talk about the steady Eddie. Passive cash flow, okay, or monthly cash flow. It's not really passive, but let's say monthly.
Could you say the cash flow is more equity? Continuous equity?
Well, probably not, because we don't do rent credits. But if it were rent credits, then it would be coming out of the equity. Does that make sense, everybody? All right. Woo! It's early on a Saturday.
I was thinking, if we owned the house and we like owner financed it, and the cash flow would be equity then, right? It would be going towards paying it down. So,
Yeah.
What equity?
Yeah. It would be creating more equity. Yeah, because you'd be paying down your mortgage as you. Exactly. So if you own a property that you have a mortgage on and you rent it out and you collect money in rent, part of that rent that you collect every month goes to pay down your mortgage, which creates more equity.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they're related, aren't they? Yeah.
Yep.
So when you're analyzing a property deal, you always got to start with the after repair value or the fair market value so you can determine equity or equity potential. Okay. In an ugly house wholesale deal, how much equity do you have to consider for your buyer in the formula? In the wholesaler's ugly house formula, how much equity does your buyer have to have? This is a pop quiz, and it's like you guys probably all know it, and I'm asking the question horribly, but
they
how
have to
much?
have a lot. A lot of equity.
Quite a bit, yeah. But there's a specific percentage number that your end buyer in a wholesale transaction, ugly house, in the ugly house wholesale formula, you automatically deduct a certain percentage for your end buyer. How much is that equity?
70, guys.
Why do we call it the 70% rule?
It's 70, or it depends what city too, though.
True,
Average about 70.
true, but I'm speaking in general terms here. So why do we call it the 70% rule or the 65% rule or 55, wherever you're at? You're right, Carl. Why do we call it that? Okay, what's the difference between 70 and 100?
30.
Can't have more than 100%, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 70% rule and 100. So what's the difference between 70 and 100?
30.
30.
Because your end buyer insists that you save 30% equity in the deal for him or he won't buy.
Yeah, they gotta make money too.
You see now equity is important. Okay. All right. Which is why when you guys bring a deal to me or you find a deal and you automatically know right away because you've been doing this a minute that this guy's house, yeah, he says it's worth 100,000 and it is. But he also says it needs $30,000 in repairs. So that's why he's asking 70,000. Oh, Justin, I think this is a deal. It's $100,000 house. He's only asking 70,000 and it needs 30,000 in repairs. What a deal.
That leaves you at break even, right?
That leaves you under break even, below. Yeah. It leaves, what amount of equity are you buying in this deal?
Want to buy in at 50% equity?
No, you're buying, he said the house is worth 100,000. He's offering it to you at 70,000, knowing that it needs 30,000 in repairs. For your money, how much equity are you buying?
None.
Sounds like zero.
Zero.
Mm.
Is this a good deal?
No,
Is this a winning investment?
no.
You bought nothing.
Mm.
That
You wanna come
man,
in at-
that seller is offering you nothing. Okay. What? Say that again, Sue.
Then you probably want to buy in at least, 50% to get 20,000.
Well, you want to run the wholesale formula on it, which is the ARV, which I'm going to show you here is ARV is 100K, just for this example. It needs 30,000 in repairs. How much equity does if we're a wholesaler, how much equity does our end buyer insist that we have in the deal if he'll even be interested in buying it?
Yeah, 30.
Usually 30. So we got to take off 30% of what number?
ARV.
The ARV, 100,000. So that's another 30K. And that'll be equity for our buyer. That's equity, expenses, okay, all kinds of that going on, okay? It's not all, he's not going to keep all that as profits. He's going to keep some of that, but that's the amount of equity in the deal he's going to need to make it work. So right now we're already down to 40K. What's the problem we see here with this equation so far? Who have we left out?
Yourself.
Ourselves.
You left out you. Yeah. So how much do you want to make? 10K? Let's say you're a nice guy and you want to do this little skinny deal for 5K. Where's that put our offer? Maximum allowable offer, 35,000. He's asking 70. Is that a good deal? Not so much, right? Not so much. So equity is important. Let's talk about cash flow. Let's suppose that was a pretty house. So we have a pretty house that's worth. Does anybody have questions on that stuff so far? Let's say we have a pretty house.
Come on.
Let's say it's worth 100K. It needs no repairs. Okay. How are we going to build in equity here? Because as an investor, I'm not interested. If he's asking 100K for $100,000 house, I'm not interested here, am I? Because I can't win, can I? As an investor, is there any equity for me? Come on, guys, help me out. Help me out. There's none, is there?
No,
No.
no equity.
None. Okay.
Maybe not.
All right. So how do I create equity here?
By improving the property, upgrading it.
Well, I could, but it's already a pretty house. It's really pretty.
Right, premium.
With time. You ask them for terms with time.
Wow. Mind blown. Mind blown. That's exactly how you create equity in a pretty house with no equity. With time. Why is that correct? Why is time your best friend?
Real estate
Realistically,
appreciates.
real estate appreciates 2-3% a year. So
Yeah. It's time is your best friend because, pardon my language, but shit ain't getting no cheaper. Right? Is that right? Everybody knows that when they go to the grocery store.
Mhm.
So we're going to have to make an offer that includes some kind of time. Enter the lease option. Okay. Or Val's talking about maybe a subject to. If her seller says that he owes 45,000 and this is what he'll take for the property, then she has really to answer the question, is there enough equity in the deal for me to contract the deal and sell it to an end buyer right away? Or do I need to contract it and hold on to it for a little while before I could sell it for equity? You guys follow me?
Yes.
Okay. So you see how if you want to create time in a deal, you have to bring in terms, which we're talking about lease option or sub two. In this case, we could do something else, right? We could do true owner finance. We could do, which would be contract for deed. Or
What about
maybe
wraparound? Which I only know the word. I don't know exactly the
yeah,
details.
well, any creative methods that would involve a wraparound would fit in this category here. Okay. So yes, these are all your creative solutions here now are coming into the focus. Okay. So let's talk about how we would create equity here with time using one of these strategies. I teach this one as the most prevalent strategy. Okay. Jocelyn is dispositions expert on this particular strategy and in particular, but probably working with the same type of buyers in both or all these cases, really, right? So we're not looking for a cash buyer here, right? We're not looking for an investor buyer. Who are we looking for here? Nobody knows.
Anybody?
A tenant buyer, right? We're looking for a tenant buyer. Or we could say just like a retail type buyer, somebody that wants to live in the house. Okay, right? Okay, so how do we create equity with time?
Can you wait till I get done? Ben?
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were talking to me. Yeah. So we have to create equity in the deal using time. So we use a lease option. So we have a lease option that extends out for 24 or 36 months. And during that 24 or 36 months, something magical occurs. What is that thing that's magical that occurs in 24 or 36 months?
Appreciation.
Usually the house appreciates and increases in value. So what we're doing now is we're contracting the property that's a pretty house that needs no repairs at $100,000 its value. We contract it at $100,000. Then we mark it up to our tenant buyer because we have a 36-month lease. We mark it up to $110,000, let's say, $115,000.
Very doable. Yeah.
Okay. Why can we do that? Because he's not going to buy for another 24 or 36 months. So we're creating equity out of future appreciation. Okay. Does that make sense? So that's how we create equity out of a deal that has none, based on future appreciation. But that would require a terms offer. All right. So you have to ask yourself on these deals, what is the equity? Is there enough equity for an ugly house buyer to come my way, snag it up, and buy it out with cash? Or is this a deal that does not have enough equity, but I would be interested in making a terms offer? Okay.
Hey, Justin,
Is that pretty simple? Yeah, Mag.
a quick question. Sometimes the sellers are unrealistic on the down payment whenever we're working on the terms. How do you go about that? Like
Yeah.
50,000, I need 50 to 80,000, 100,000.
Yeah. There is no greater indicator of a seller's motivation level than his or her desire for down payment. Okay. That's really the facts. If a guy wants too much money, he ain't that motivated.
Gotcha.
Now, if they ask too much money, I still try to renegotiate with them. And here's what I do. I'll give you the steps. Mr. Homeowner, is there anything more reasonable than that we can talk about concerning down payment? When he says no, I say this, Mr. Homeowner, I understand we are offering you full price for your property. We want to qualify for the home loan as quickly as possible. And in order to do that, we will need cash for the closing table. Giving cash to you up front will make that difficult for us. And you do want us to buy very quickly, don't you?
Yes, awesome.
Would it be possible for us to talk about anything more reasonable? Okay. If it's still no, Mr. Homeowner, is it possible that we create a promissory note for the amount of the down payment in case that we do not buy for full purchase price? A penalty, a guarantee. Okay. That's my last resort. That's what I'll do. Okay. That is an old Carlton Sheets technique, by the way. Okay.
Would you repeat that, please?
The whole thing?
No, no, just the last
Okay.
sentence.
Okay.
Is there anything reasonable?
Yes.
Promissory note.
The first one, is there anything reasonable? The second one is
Yes.
okay.
Yes. Is there anything more reasonable? The second one is Mr. Homeowner, we want to purchase the home as quickly as possible. And in order to do so, our lenders will require cash at closing. Quite a bit. If we give you all of the cash now, we will not be able to close as quickly. Is there a way we can talk about something more reasonable? That's 2. Okay. Number 3 is, okay, and before I say number 3, it's based on the principle that down payment does not have to be cash.
Mhm.
Can I give you in lieu of cash a down payment promissory note that would act as a penalty if we do not buy at the price that is set during the term? That's my Hail Mary. Okay. Like I said, that's an old Carlton Sheets technique to take the down payment out of the cash conversation and put it into something that ain't cash. If you ain't got cash, you got to be creative.
Yeah.
That's one of those ways to do it. Okay. If he's asking too much cash, because that's going to eat up all your equity in the deal, you're going to have to somehow talk him down. Okay. If you can't talk him down, then he's unmotivated and he's not interested, then it won't work. Okay. Why will it not work? Somebody tell me, if the guy's asking too much down payment and you cannot get him down, why will it not work?
Weigh your profits.
Because he's going to keep all your equity profits.
Yeah. There's nothing in it for you.
Right.
I thought usually, I don't know if you're talking lease option here strictly, but I'm thinking lease options because that's all I'm learning about.
Sure.
But I thought we usually didn't give the seller a down payment, sometimes a little one, but we're trying to get the down payment from the buyer tenant, and that's the main part. Are you
Yeah.
talking about stubborn sellers?
Yes. I'm not opposed to giving a homeowner a security deposit, 1 month's rent.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to giving a homeowner 2% of the purchase price as a down payment. Okay. I might not be opposed to giving him 3% if it's a really nice deal somewhere. But I've got to draw the line someplace here, because every bit that I give him is cash that I collect from the tenant buyer that I have to give to him.
Mhm.
That's money I can't keep.
Mhm.
So this is it's going to be unrealized equity for me. Every dollar he gets is unrealized equity for me.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just going to have to try to talk him down. But I'm okay with him getting something. Put yourself in his shoes. If you owned a property and you were in a somewhat motivated scenario and somebody called you and you were somewhat interested in doing a lease and then a sell, and the guy said, nah, we ain't giving you squat. No skin in the game from us, bub. Man, come on. Give the guy a security deposit, maybe a couple months worth, and that gives him some moving money. That keeps him from having seller's remorse right away. Okay. And it ain't going to hurt you in the deal if you collect 10 or 15 grand to give that seller 3 grand of it. Okay. That's just my personal thoughts. Okay. Other gurus will say, hey, we never give a down payment to nobody. Okay. I'm not a guru, and I give down payments all the time. Okay? Almost every single deal. In fact, during the last hot market, the last several years have been super, super scorching hot real estate market. I made a living by sending out text messages that said, hey, would you lease your property and then sell? I have some down payment.
Mm.
I lead with the down payment when markets are hot and tight and hard to, competitive. Why? Because everybody wants some.
Mhm.
Cash is king, baby. You've heard that, right? So you got to have the ability. Frankly, if I were to be as transparent as I could on this entire process, the real negotiation that you need to be good at, the one that makes the difference between getting deals and not getting deals on a consistent, regular, fruitful basis, is how good are you at negotiating down payment? Because there's a lot of deals out there that you can do if you can just get them a little more reasonable on down payment. Period. That's fact.
Are a lot of people open to taking a promissory note for down payment? Has that been your experience?
I've done it a handful of times.
Okay,
Most people are more reasonable when you explain number two to them. Mr. Homeowner, we would love to buy this property sooner than to 24 to 36 months. And then when we go to do that, we're going to need cash for the closing table. Giving cash to you now will make it difficult for us to accomplish that in a speedy process. Because we'll have to save up cash again. Is there anything more reasonable we can talk about? You do want us to buy this house quickly, right? Okay, you see what I'm doing there?
yes.
That works more than the promissory note, because that's just logical reasoning, and it's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, it's talking to their greed. Well, yeah, I don't want you waiting 3 years. If you could buy it in 6 months, that'd be great. Okay, well, in order to help us do that, we can't be giving you $25,000 in cash, because we're going to need that to get that done in 6 months. You guys feeling me here?
Yes.
Okay, when a seller understands that, maybe they're more reasonable. Okay. Sometimes not. Then they're just simply not motivated. Okay. Sometimes sometimes a guy tells you he wants $50,000 down because he's just trying to tell you to buzz off. Okay. Well, what were you going to say, Val?
I came up with a 150,000 ARV on the same street.
Okay. Yeah. Let's ring that bell. No, I'm just kidding. But for real, let's start here real quick. We got
That makes it interesting. Yeah.
We got 9 minutes. Let's go for it. So we got a house. It's worth 150K ARV. Okay. What are the repairs again? Do you know?
Well, it would take a good bit of upgrades and repairs. It's
Yeah.
not a whole lot of repairs, but definitely upgrades.
Okay.
House I'm
So
looking at is upgraded.
what are we thinking? You got an idea ballpark?
To match this house,
Are we
it'd be
talking?
60,000.
Okay. All right. So 60K in repair. Uh-oh. Okay. I see problems, but they might be opportunities here. So we don't know just yet. So what we have ARV 150,000, 60K in repairs. Okay. And you know what it would rent for if it was rentable?
1,400.
Wow. 1,400 a month in rent.
That's per Zestimate. Or rent
Okay.
Zestimate.
Yeah. All right. Hey, not bad. Not bad. This is almost the 1% rule here. You guys know what I mean by that?
No.
Okay. Hang around me a little while and I'll teach you a couple things. All right. All right. The 1% rule is what your landlord buyers, how they analyze deals. What's a landlord interested in? Equity or cash flow?
Yes.
Okay, he's interested in both, but he's really interested definitely in cash flow. Okay.
Yeah.
A fix and flipper, is he interested in cash flow or in equity?
Equity.
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 Only equity. Only equity. So a landlord's interested in the equity, but he's really, really interested in his cash flow. So would it be logically reasonable to suspect a landlord would buy this deal somewhere near where we need him to, just because he can collect $1,400 a month off of it, which is almost 1% of the entire value?
Yeah.
You guys see that 1% rule?
Yeah.
1,400 is almost, if it was 1,500, that'd be 1% of the after repair value. That means he can he can rent this out and have it paid off in just what? How many months? Well, if he had no expenses and he had no repairs and he had no vacancies, he could rent this thing out and have it paid off in 100 months. How many years is that?
2.5.
How many years is 100 months? What's 100 divided by 12? I mean, yeah, right? That's how you do it.
A
Yeah.
little over 10.
I don't know. Somebody get your Casio out. Anybody got a Casio? I mean, come on. Public school failed us all here, because ain't even myself included. I'm just like, what in the hell is 100 divided by 12? That is 8 1/3 years. So basically, in less than 10 years, this property for a landlord will be free and clear, and he'll be cash flowing positively without expenses and vacancies and such. $1,400. That's why retirement right here is what everybody's looking for.
Yeah. It's good.
Because in 8 years, I got $1,400 a month coming in, and ain't nobody looking to collect none of it except maybe the tax guy. Yeah. Okay, so you get a dozen of these, and you're doing quite well. So right away, I'm already thinking this might be a landlord buyer for me if I contract this one. But let's go ahead and think a little longer here, because we'll speed it up a little bit. So we got $1,400 a month coming in, $60K in repairs, and what else do we need to know? Anything?
He currently rents it out. He was currently allowing us to rent it out for 600, which is what he, his monthly payment. So
Okay. So he owes how much?
45.
Ooh, okay. So he owes 45. And his payment is 450?
No, 600.
Oh, okay. Wow. And he's willing to sell for what he owes.
Yes.
Okay. I wonder what taxes, insurance, and such are, or is that all rolled into the 600?
I have not asked that.
Okay, you'll want to find out,
Okay.
because taxes and insurance might be another couple $100 a month, which might throw off the numbers, see, make them vastly different here, quite a bit different. So he owes 45K and he pays 600 a month. It needs 60K in repairs. 1,400 a month is what it would cash flow if we had it in good shape, and it would be worth 150. Is this a deal or not a deal?
I think it's, yeah, I think it's
Depending on geography, if this is in the middle of the war zone, maybe not, because it might be hard for us to be landlords there.
yeah.
But if this is in an okay place where people work and there's a Walmart nearby, and it's not out in the boonies somewhere rural or something like that,
It's near downtown. It's not the best area, but
Okay.
a mother was
Okay.
living there when we got it, and she was living there with her sons, so she
Okay.
felt comfortable. So it's not the best area.
Okay. Well, you did find a comp, so that's
Yes.
helpful. Okay,
Mhm.
which means something in the neighborhood sold recently. You do know that it rents for this amount, so it must be a rental type neighborhood in some respects. I would look into that just to double check. I would look around the neighborhood a little bit, just see, hey, is this really a rental neighborhood?
Mhm.
Because it's looking like it could be a kick-ass deal for a landlord buyer to have. Okay,
Yeah. That's cool.
it could be a kick-ass deal. So
Yeah.
at this point, we just need to decide, how do we want to go about contracting it? Okay.
Mhm.
This is not probably a good fix and flipper deal. Let's try to run the fix and flip formula on it real quick. Somebody help me out. What's the fix and flip formula? 150. We started our ARV. 150 minus what?
30.
150 minus 30%. Why 30%?
For the investor.
For my investor buyers, equity, right? And expenses. So 150,000 minus 30%. It leaves me with 105,000. Okay, minus 60,000 in repairs. That leaves me with 45,000. Minus, I want to make a little money too if I'm you,
Yeah.
which is 10K, which puts my offer down to 35K. He's not, he owes 45K. So he ain't gonna be able to do that. Well, that means you could do this deal and sell it to a fix and flipper if you was a generous person and you didn't want to make any money, though. Because a fix and flipper would definitely buy it, but they wouldn't want to pay you anything.
Yeah.
So we're not going to contract this with cash trying to find a fix and flipper, are we?
No.
So we already decided that. That's out. So if a cash offer for a fix and flipper is out, then what do we think of next?
A landlord buyer.
Could we find a landlord buyer that would want to buy this for 35K? For he owes 45K. So let's say 55K. Could we find a landlord buyer that would buy this for 55K? You guys understand why I said that? He owes 45K. He'll take 45 for it. If you find a buyer that's willing to give you 55, then you get to keep 10. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay, so could we contract it cash, 55K? I mean,
Yes.
or 45K and then sell it for 55K? Is that possible?
Contracted cash.
Possible. Yeah. Why wouldn't we?
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely would. I would want to contract this for cash at 45K or whatever his loan balance is. Okay.
Is it livable?
It is.
It's got 60,000 in updates it needs though. Okay.
Yeah.
So I would definitely contract this one at 45K and then I try to find a buyer at 55 or something. It's real simple, right? I mean, simple math. If you think through it, you contract it for 45, then you try to find a landlord buyer for 55. You made 10.
Can I say something, Justin?
Yes,
And
please.
Val,
Uh-huh.
what were the prior tenants paying a month?
I believe 1,000 because me and my partner were cash flowing. We were each getting like $200 a month.
Okay, so
were
paying
splitting
the
it.
landlord 600, so that's about 1,000, 2 for you and 2 for your partner.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
there's a difference too, when people go in to fix and flip versus when people go in to become landlords, how they fix it up and the amount of money that they spend.
Right, so
That's
it might not
true.
come to 60. The house that I'm looking at that recently sold is pristine with all the upgrades and stuff, so it may not be as high as 60. That's a good point.
So what would be an alternative then? Because I agree, cash flow is really where this property is sparkly.
Buy and hold.
So maybe a subject to is what you want to do here, Val. And maybe you want to take it over for the loan balance of 45K. Maybe you want to bring on a partner in
Why does
time.
that scare me so bad?
It scares you because you're not confident that you can get enough money cash flow coming in every month with no problems. Right?
We did it for 10 months and now the tenant has moved. So we do need a new tenant.
Okay. What I would do if I were you, I think, as an ignorant outsider here, looking in, peeking in the window. Okay. What I would do, I think, is I would try to take this over subject to, I would try to bring on a partner, a private lender, okay, who would help me do the repairs, which would bring us up to, if you got it for 45, which what he owes, and you had a partner that put in 60K, now you owe 105 plus interest and stuff. It's worth 150 now, though. You've got all kinds of equity in there still. And now you're able to charge $1,400 a month. That will be more than enough to service the debt from your private lender and still put money in your pocket, but you own the property.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's another thing you could do. If you want to add this one
And
to your
then you
portfolio.
continue to cash flow.
Mhm.
Then you would continue to cash flow. So that is the most profitable way to do it, probably. Okay. The finding a landlord to do it would just be you finding somebody else that's willing to do that, except with their own cash.
Mhm.
So you could sell it to somebody that wants to do what we're talking about, or you could probably just step in and do it yourself.
Mhm.
Now, when you get it under contract subject to, and you're looking for a retail buyer or somebody that wants to move in, Jocelyn,
Mhm.
would you be open to working with finding a buyer for a deal like that?
Absolutely.
Okay, it's okay to say no if you want
No,
to.
I mean, it just all depends. Each deal is different.
Right.
It really seems like this might be a rental market. I don't know.
It might be.
But you did say that a house in the neighborhood sold recently for,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
so you just have to determine what kind of end buyer is this for? Is this for an investor, or is this for someone who really wants to live here?
Mhm,
Or is it for you for that forever property?
mhm.
Right. That's so
Right.
true too. Yeah. So
How long is your lease option on this, Val? many more?
Let's see, I think we got another year on it, but the seller is willing to, he wants to just get rid of it now.
So he just sounds like he's just really flexible and willing to deal with, so you and your partner have some thinking to do and just, check out the market and see what would be best for you guys. You've got some options, and options are always great.
yeah. And if you think, well, I couldn't do a deal like that because I don't have a money partner. Well, none of us have a money partner until we do.
Yeah.
So you have to get something cooking like this and then put it out in the world and say, hey, is anybody out there got 60 grand they'd like to partner up with me on a deal? It's going to create an instantaneous 45,000 in equity, and it's going to cash flow. What is that? 800 a month. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I can't for the money. No investor can get that out of the stock market or crypto or any. I mean, that's a hell of a return.
Mhm.
I mean, if you guys are partnering up like that and maybe you split the deal or you split the profits or maybe you just pay them a percent or what have you. I mean, that's interesting to people. Okay. Again, depending on the property and the location
Mhm.
and the deeds. But, from out, as I'm saying, as an ignorant outsider looking at it, got a lot of potential, so.
That was cool.
Cool.
That helps a lot, and of
We
course I
went
have
over
to,
today.
you
I'm
know,
sorry,
make
go
sure-
ahead.
That helps a lot, and of course I have to make sure of everything and go over everything again.
Yeah, you want to make sure you're working with real numbers, check your numbers, make a
I actually
list.
had 3 comps and divided them by 3.
Okay, great, good.
June, September's, a June sale, a September sale, and I don't remember the last date. of the
Okay.
sale, but it was recent.
Well, good. You did a good job then, sounds like. So it's good. Then get it under contract. I mean, further tie it up.
Right, get it under contract.
Good. Well,
And get the
it's been
renter in there, Val. Get them in there ASAP if that's what you're gonna do, because every moment you don't have money coming in, you're spending money you've already made.
Right.
Thanks, Justin. That was awesome.
no problem.
Thanks
You
a
know,
lot, everyone.
One more tip here before we cut and run is I'm a subscriber here to rocketlawyer.com. Okay. I'm not like an affiliate or anything where you can get my link or whatever. But whenever I need more, like, let's say I'm getting involved in a deal like this where I want to do it subject to, and then maybe there's a financing addendum I need, or there's something. Okay, Rocket Lawyer for a small amount of money every month gives me access to be able to write like professional looking contracts on stuff that's weird. Okay, stuff that I don't maybe have one laying around for.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So just a thought, check into it and make your own decisions, everybody. Love you. Hey, everybody okay? Sue, you look like you're deep in thought here. Is there anything I could do for you before you go?
No, this was great.
Put your phone number in the chat.
I just don't stare at the computer because my eyes
I
get
understand.
irritated.
Mine do too. But I appreciate you. Thank you, everybody. Jocelyn, Carl, Mag, Sue, Ty, Christina, Valerie. Love you guys. Hey, big
Thank
hug.
you.
I'm going to the beach
Thanks
next
a
week. I'll
lot.
see you next Saturday. Okay.
Having
Thank
fun.
you, guys.